Welcome to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. My name's Nick Adams.
I'm Anna. Amy.
And I'm Lacey G.
And today we're breaking down Taylor's song, Nothing New. This is the 23rd track on Red, Taylor's version. It was written by Taylor in 2012. She was going to use it on the original release of Red, ultimately decided not to use it on the album, and it features Phoebe Bridgers. What a nice surprise.
Yeah, so great.
Isn't that a great little change in pace? Like, whoa, this is a really great artist to have on this song.
Yeah, and what a combo.
Mm-hmm. They sound hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah, they sound great together.
Yes, their voices together. It's my favorite.
Is your favorite on Red?
On the vault
The vault tracks?
Yeah. Disc 2.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, not including All Too Well.
That's
course.
a different
Well,
category.
yeah, that's just...
That's
we
third.
All, yeah.
That's third, Amy.
Yeah.
Right. And then this is number one.
I can't say anything. It's fine.
So this is really cool, too, because this is the first time a female artist has their own verse on a Taylor Swift song. That's really cool.
Which is great because it is something that we've talked about as fans for a couple years now, that anytime Taylor features a female artist, i.e. Maren Morris, Colby Calais, they just do like background harmonies.
Right, but when she has a guy on, Ed Sheeran, Future, they get a whole verse.
And like you see the argument of like, okay, well when you have not just Taylor, but like a male voice and a female voice, and there's like that contradicting story point of view kind of thing.
They go back and forth.
You know, it makes sense, but we still also as fans were like, okay, but if you're going to feature like another amazing female singer, we want to hear her. And I think when she put Phoebe on this song and she has a whole verse and everything, I feel like Taylor did really listen to us this time.
Yeah, and because I would give that complaint when you have the Chicks.
Right, that's another example.
On such an incredibly heavy song, on Soon You'll Get Better, and we don't really hear them, just kind of like backup singers.
Right.
I feel like it's doing the Chicks a disservice because we're not hearing them at their full potential we would want to.
And that's kind of how I felt about Maren Morris.
Absolutely.
On the Fearless vault track, You All Over Me. That's the one. Yeah. But it was really wonderful to hear her and Phoebe. And I think she had said, like, whenever she was promoting Red, Taylor's version, that she loves Phoebe Bridgers. She was like, if Phoebe puts out a song, I'm listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no questions asked.
No questions asked. I just adore it. So I thought that was a really cool collaboration.
Someone on Reddit said, okay, in my mind, I feel like Taylor held out on giving another female a whole verse till she found the right one for this song, and it was Phoebe. It's the only thing that makes sense. Taylor is a collaborator. She brings people in and lifts them up, so maybe she was waiting for this moment and the right singer for this verse. And Phoebe was a perfect choice. Also, a lot of people are comparing this song to Mirrorball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And, you know, this song is definitely pretty weighty as well. You know, she's singing about when she's lost her luster, when she's not the it girl on the scene anymore.
Yeah.
And she's not as famous as she is now. Because right now she's on top of the world.
Right.
Now she's thinking about when is all that going to fade away. And so I can see how Mirrorball, which is a lot of people think is an ode to her fans, how they can draw comparisons with this song.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she also wrote about this song in the Lover Journals.
Did you read the actual entry? I went back and read the entry.
The whole thing?
Like what she was talking about the page before.
Oh, I don't know about the page before.
Well, she's talking about how she's in Australia and she's talking about how she and her friends had a good time frolicking on the beach, how the water was crystal clear. And then she immediately just goes into saying, I wrote a new song. And it's like, oh, and she includes a couple lines of this song that what we would eventually hear is nothing new.
Wow. In the journal?
In the journal. It's really neat. She writes a few of the lines that are in the chorus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because she also wrote saying it's about being scared of aging and things changing and losing what you have. It's a really vulnerable song, but I think it's important to say. And it's so interesting, too, just like the fact that she did write this, you know, in 2012 when she was younger and she was coming up and everything. And it just, for her to sing it now, like you have this whole different perspective, like you said, Nick. And then she kind of expressed the same sentiments about the song to Vogue back in 2019. She said, men in the industry saw me as a kid. I was a lanky, scrawny, overexcited young girl who reminded them more of their little niece or their daughter than a successful woman in business or colleague. The second I became a woman in people's perception is when I started seeing the sexism in the music industry. It's fine to see a girl's success and not say, how cute is she? She's having hit songs. How cute is she? She's writing songs. But the second I became formidable was as soon as I started playing stadiums. When I started to look like a woman, that just wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah, it's like the haters never even gave her a chance. Because before, she's just this immature little girl singing silly songs. Oh, but now she's too much. Now all she's singing about is success. Now all she's singing about is her ex-boyfriends, and she dates too much. Like you didn't even give her a chance.
Yeah, it's just constant criticism, like no matter what, and that's what she says in the song. Like like they shoot you down and say, oh, like she's been through it. It's like, well, you're the ones that shot her down.
Yeah.
Really?
And of course, people want to know, well, why didn't she release this song originally? But I saw a really good point. Someone said she'd be called spoiled and whiny back then, and that they're glad that she released it now, which I think is true.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be called spoiled?
Yeah, she would just be called spoiled
Whiny.
or brat.
Oh,
They're
you
like,
poor little
wah,
rich
wah,
girl.
wah.
Yeah. With all your success, and then you just complain about it.
And, this is at a time when she's getting criticized for faking that she was surprised every time she wins an award or, being too over the top where it wasn't genuine. And so I could see how you would want to hold this back for the right time. That makes sense. Good move, Taylor.
And this was the right time. And I saw somebody posted a TikTok video with just the first verse, like girls, like they tell you girls go out and have your fun, but then they hunt you and slay and when you're the ones that actually do it. And it was the whole first verse of the song, but it was photos of all like the pop girls from like the early 2000s, like Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Ashley Simpson, like the girls that would go have fun and then get criticized for it. And then it kind of jumped like more present, like Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato. You know what I mean? Like people that would just, girls go out and have some fun, but when you do it, it's too much.
Absolutely.
Like, and it's just, when you put it in that perspective, it like just like the sexism of it, like it's just so, it's so powerful but so hurtful at the same time. Like especially as like young women, and Nick, and I'm sure you can like kind of see it also, but it's just like just the constant criticism of not even just like being successful, like, oh, you're not skinny enough, you're not fat enough, you're not funny enough, you're not serious enough, you're not smart enough, whatever. You're never going to be enough. And it's just like, that's just, God, it's daunting. It's annoying.
And along the same lines of that, then also not giving her a chance to prove herself. One of my favorite lines of this song is, how did I go from growing up to breaking down?
Yeah.
It's like there's no
in between.
There's no middle road here.
Right.
You're either immature or you're nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're nothing new. Love that line. Phoebe Bridgers spoke to Billboard about being on this song. Did y'all see what she said? She said, "It's been a dream. I got teary recording it. I just couldn't be more excited." She said, "I think that Taylor's an incredible business person and an incredible writer. What she's been able to build just from writing aptly from a young age is insane." And then she was asked about Taylor re-recording all of her old albums. Phoebe said, "It's really inspiring for me and for a lot of musicians. I think a lot of people make a couple records and they're like, oh, wow, I hit the top. I'm great now." And the fact that she's always wanted more from the world, she's like, no, F you. I'm going to make it again and I'm going to make it better. And it's going to belong to me is the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
So Phoebe is all Team Taylor on re-recording the music.
I saw a lot of people say that they were intrigued by the parallel coming of age relationships with a big gap because Phoebe was with Ryan Adams and Taylor with old and having that in mind, they really adore this song and they wonder what Taylor thinks of Ryan now after Phoebe's Motion Sickness song came out, which was just bashing him because of the way he treated her. And I didn't realize that they were together.
I didn't either.
In 2019, she said her and other artists described him as physically, sexually, and emotionally abusive.
Mm-hmm.
So, considering he covered, 1989?
Yeah, and Taylor gave him a lot of props for covering it at the time. So it's interesting that now she's working with his ex after all these allegations came out. And he's kind of, I don't want to say gone away, but we've heard a lot less of him than we did before.
Wait, remind me who he is?
He's married to Mandy Moore.
He was
for a
married to
while.
Mandy Moore for a little bit, or did they just date? No, they were married.
They
They
were
were married.
married.
Yeah, and he came out. Oh, and he came out after he was married to Mandy Moore. He was saying he had a drug problem, like pills or something. He's like, I don't remember our wedding day and all this
that's
stuff.
so
Yeah, it was
sad.
really bad. And people said that he was just really abusive towards them sexually. I think he would kind of
Like a controlling thing?
controlling, like dangle career opportunities and stuff in front of them if they didn't act a certain way with him or something like that. If I remember correctly.
Yikes.
Yeah, he was kind of a monster. It kind of came out. He was just a jerk.
Oh, I must have blocked it out.
So I wonder, working with Phoebe Bridgers, not only does Taylor respect Phoebe, does she like her work? Maybe it's also a way of saying something about the Ryan Adams situation.
Maybe.
Because she was very
Supporting
pro
her.
Ryan Adams, saying like,
Yeah.
go listen to his covers of the 1989 album. Because like you said, Lacey, he did the whole album. And it was in the public eye. It was I don't want to say it was the biggest deal, but like it caught the attention of a lot of people, him re-recording it. It was really, really cool.
And I don't know if I'd say she was righting a wrong, but something like that.
It's her taking a side.
Yeah.
You know, it's her publicly
Yeah.
taking a side. Interesting. Everything she does has 7 different meanings.
Yeah.
Wow.
At least we think so.
Yeah, at least we think so. Are we reading into it? She just really liked Phoebe Bridgers? Probably.
Phoebe's so. I saw her at ACL last year, and it was before Red came out, and I just knew that she was going to be like featured on it. I think I texted you, Amy, and I was like, I'm seeing Phoebe Bridgers just because she's going to be on.
I remember.
And I know a lot of people, Phoebe falls into that category where like a lot of people are like, oh, if you like Taylor Swift, you'll like Phoebe Bridgers. If you know, kind of, there's like similar artist kind of vibe. I was pretty unfamiliar with her when I saw her at ACL though. And it was so interesting to see her because it was just like the way that her fans were so into her music is the way that I would be if I saw Taylor live. It was a really cool experience to see as like someone kind of on the outside of like a fan base. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But yeah, I was there because I was like, I'm going to listen to you starting now. Now I know. Now I know. But she's really, really cool. Did anybody else have to look up the word ingenue?
Ingenue, it's like a woman, like a young woman,
Yeah, it's French.
right?
It's a French word. Yeah, it says when someone else lights up the room, people love an ingenue.
Oh, an ingenue. I've heard
I'll have to look
ingenue
up.
talk about like old Hollywood. An ingenue.
An ingenue, yes. It says ingenue is a French word meaning an innocent or unsophisticated young woman, particularly one who is endearingly innocent, or a naive typecast common among fiction romance.
Can we start keeping a list, Anna, in your notes?
Oh, yeah.
Words that we had to look up because of Taylor Swift lyrics.
Yes, words Taylor taught us. How about that? Taylor.
There's several that we've already talked about, but I
Oh,
could not
there's
tell
so
you
many.
what they are.
Mame,
Mame you too.
ingenue. Well, this will be a running
Yeah.
list.
One lyric that I saw kept coming up everywhere said, "How long will it be cute, all this crying in my room, when you can't blame it on my youth and roll your eyes with affection?" And people were saying that was super relatable with mental illness because whenever you're younger, people want to take care of you and help you out. But then whenever you get older and you still have a problem because mental illness doesn't go away. So a lot of people were feeling that like, oh, it was, I was just a moody kid earlier, but then my mental illness doesn't go away, but it's not cute anymore. No one cares that I'm crying all the time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was heartbreaking.
Yeah. And very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So then in the bridge is when kind of she starts to talk about like the girls of the future, about how hopefully they'll learn from her one day. And I know a lot of people have kind of put this part of the song kind of along with like Olivia Rodrigo because she says, I know someday I'm going to meet her. It's a fever dream. The kind of radiance you only have at 17. She'll know the way and then she'll say she got the map from me. I'll say I'm happy for her, but then I'll cry myself to sleep. And even though she wrote this years ago, her singing it now and with the way that we've seen Olivia Rodrigo come up, a lot of people are kind of like, is that kind of like, is Olivia Rodrigo the girl that she says someday I'm going to meet her? It's a fever dream because she's 17, and it kind of falls along the lines. And it's so interesting because then I'll kind of like sing that song, but then at the end of that, when she says, I'll say I'm happy for her, but then I'll cry myself to sleep. I don't really know how to interpret that because I feel like it could be like, oh, I'm going to cry myself to sleep because she's the new thing and I'm not anymore. Or is it because I'm going to cry myself to sleep because I know everything she's about to endure, everything she's about to go through. Like I've already been through it and now it's your turn. So I cry myself to sleep knowing you're about to get this criticism. You're about to face all of this. And so I kind of like look at that part. And a lot of people I've seen a lot of people on TikTok kind of, talk about how like, oh, maybe there's a rift between Taylor and Olivia, like competitively. And I was like, I don't necessarily think that's true. I don't think there's any sort of competition or ill will between them. If anything, I think Taylor probably wants to protect her because she knows everything that she's been through over the last decade and a half. You know what I mean? But yeah, every time I get to that line, I just don't know how to interpret it. And I don't know the intention behind that line, but every time I listen to it, I just don't know how I'm supposed to feel. What do you guys think?
Well, it's definitely a selfish versus selfless. It's a definite flip. You could, I don't know. I've never thought of it the second way. I love it. It's deeper.
I like it the second way. I definitely interpreted it as the first, that she is supportive, but then deep down on the inside, she still has her insecurities about not being fresh and new. And I mean, there's so much emphasis on being young and relevant. And so that's a fear.
Yeah. And I guess the reason I think about it the second way of like in the selfless way is just because she wrote this kind of around the same time that she had the lucky one. So, it is kind of the same idea of like fame can be really toxic. And so maybe it's just kind of in that perspective,
Yeah.
unless unless it really is the fear of getting older and somebody else is going to replace me, because that's valid too. They both make sense, you know.
I'm going to choose it's the second one of being upset of what the up-and-comer is going to go through. Taylor said that this song was inspired by a Joni Mitchell song, someone else who had come before her, and now Taylor's been putting in the work for women and moving forward, and nothing is still changing, just like Joni Mitchell did back in her time. And so I'm wondering, that does make sense of, despite everything we've done, these generations after generations of powerful women who are moving the conversation forward, there's still so much of a conversation to be had, and it just hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So I like that idea, Anna. It's a good job.
Thank you.
And Taylor did endure it all, because I am grateful that we're now in a time where you can't shame people, because that's the way it should have been anyway. I know there's a fine line between cancel culture and not shaming, but I do like the fact that it's bad to shame people now, that you aren't supposed to talk bad about people when that wasn't always the case.
It used to be way more accepted. And now people are like calling you out for it.
A couple of comments from Reddit. Someone said, Simp for Swift was their name. Said, Taylor, if you're reading this, we love you and we still want you. I thought that was really sweet.
Good point.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Swifty13. They didn't spell it like how we spell Swifty.
Okay.
But Swifty13 said, nothing new. How can a person know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? And then Cardigan, because I knew everything when I was young.
And I guess we haven't even talked about
the 22.
the song 22, which obviously has a big glaring thing like, wow, she's having so much fun in 22,
Right.
which was however many songs ago on this album. Wow, she's having so much fun. She's taking back ownership of that birth date. Oh, it's awesome.
Girls, go out and have your fun.
But then everyone still thinks she doesn't know anything. Nothing to 22. Nothing.
Gosh, she's the smartest woman ever.
And she does. I love how in this Taylor Swift universe, how she just interweaves everything in and out. And
The Taylor Swift cinematic universe.
yes. And she mentioned in Call It What You Want, he loves me like I'm brand new.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was talking about after all her turmoil and leaving and being out of the public for a really long time, I'm doing better than I ever have. And he loves me like I'm brand new.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Can I give a shout out before Anna is allowed to?
Huh?
Well, I saw that you posted something from Mila Mills, and she said, give me a shout out. And she said, one of us. And I wanted to beat you. So shout out to her.
On the reviews.
Yeah. So I win.
Oh, is
shout
it
out, Mila.
like our Apple reviews? Or
Yeah.
iTunes reviews?
Yeah, she said something like, Amy and Anna, can you please give me a shout out? Yes.
Well, hey, if you want to leave us a good review, go to it on Apple Podcasts. We would love to see your review. We've gotten a lot of good things that people say on there.
Yeah, people are so
Really
nice.
love it.
It really helps us a lot. So we really appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. So check us out there. Leave us a 5-star rating and a good review.
Oh, wait, did y'all want to talk about the message that we got from Taylor Swift?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
wait, stop everything. Yes, we
I-
can't end
I-
the show without talking about
I'm so
this.
sorry.
Crying.
It's
It
such
was
a big deal. It's
so-
such a big deal. We're so traumatized by
that
getting a
we-
message from Taylor. We forgot to say it.
to say like until the very end of this
Yeah.
episode. I'm so wow. You're right. We are.
And
kind
you
of
would think
traumatized.
we would do its own Swift tea.
You think
Something
but
like
it
that.
kind of fits with nothing new out of
It does. What did it say, Anna? Anna
got-
runs our social media.
At the 13 podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. We're not on any other platforms at this moment. But yeah, we got a DM from Taylor Swift. It says in all caps, "Hey babe, this is me, Taylor Swift. I'm on my backup account and need you, a real Swiftie, to lend me some cash so I can personally meet you. Much love from me and my pussies. XO, heart, stream all too well, 10-minute version, wine, leaf, emojis."
You know, the only thing that tells me that wasn't actually Taylor Swift, she did not put a lobster in there.
Well,
Yes.
and all caps. Come on.
Yeah, true.
Taylor-
Well,
Taylor's
but
not an
maybe
all
it's,
caps
maybe
kind
it's
of
the all
person.
caps because we don't want to read into what isn't capped. But
Yeah.
I think for me, what I knew it wasn't Taylor Swift when she used a red heart, because lately she's been using purple hearts, and I like to think that's for Speak Now Taylor's version. So I just knew. I just knew that.
But if you do the math, pussy adds up to 13. I swear. There's a way it does. I don't know how, but
man.
it does.
No, obviously that's a fake DM, but when we got that, man, I laughed so
So great.
hard. Part of me wanted to respond and be like, "Oh shit."
Well, and the Instagram handle, kitty meow meow Taylor Swift.
That has to be her. No fooling us.
Oh my God, so funny.
That's her Finsta. It is.
Watch one day. Watch us meet Taylor Swift for real one day. And she's like, y'all didn't reply.
You didn't reply. You left me unread. And you know what? What she's saying in that message is true. We would pay for a meet and greet, Taylor.
Yeah.
How much? Tell us.
Yeah, I'll send you some cash.
Through you or through Ticketmaster?
Yeah.
Which is it? All right. Well, that does it for this episode of 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. Be sure to subscribe to us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to us on right now. Join us next time. We're going to be breaking down Taylor's song, Babe.